I've often thought that if it wasn't for Lee's reluctance to eat raw food, I would never have written my book Hooked on Raw. Lee became a vegetarian after we got together, but that was about as far as he seemed willing to go. Obviously, it's wrong to impose your way on someone else. So, what to do? I got the idea that if the food was delicious enough, he would be more inclined to eat it. So that was my plan. And along the way, I learned another few tricks, which I'm going to share with you later. One of the vegetables that Lee really did not like to eat raw was broccoli. A lot of people don't like the flavor of raw broccoli. I was watching the TV Food Network one day and I saw a chef marinate some raw fish in lemon juice and oil. He said that it would cold cook the fish. So I thought maybe that's what's needed to tame the wild broccoli flavor. And it does. So in my broccoli and cheddar recipe, the first thing I do is I marinate the broccoli in oil, lemon, and some nam shoyu overnight. And once you become more in tune with the raw flavor, you just have to marinate it for a few minutes. But I would suggest for beginners that they marinate it overnight. So let's tame some of this raw broccoli. Just cut it very small. Try to chop it as fine as you can. I wouldn't suggest you use the food processor to do this because it releases too much of the liquid of the broccoli. You want to keep it nice and clean cut. I actually learned this the hard way. I was doing an event in Jamaica one time for a couple of hundred people. It wasn't just me, there was a bunch of other raw chefs there. And we needed some volunteer help to help with the chopping. I was doing my raw broccoli dish, and one of the volunteers suggested, because he didn't want to chop it by hand, he suggested that we put it into the food processor. And we did. So what I learned from that is that the food processor releases the juices too much, and it changes the flavor of the dish. So I would suggest you just do it by hand. It only takes a few minutes. That's about right. Now, I want to tell you about these stems. Some people think you can't use these stems. The reason I found that out was one time I did a benefit for the Ann Wigmer Institute, and I had some volunteer help that was chopping broccoli, and I looked in my compost bucket, and there was a huge amount of stems in there. So I thought, oh, they don't know you can use these stems. The only part that can't be used is this little part on the bottom. That's kind of hard. But the other part can be chopped up really fine, like this. Just chop it up like that. Stack it one on top of the other, if you can keep them stacked. And then just give it another little chop. As long as it's chopped fine, you can definitely use it. And it has the flavor of the top of the broccoli. There. So I'm going to measure out 1 cup here. Okay. So 1 cup here and 2 cups that was previously chopped. 3 cups in all. Let me just clean this up a little. And now we're going to make the marinade for it. We're going to put about, a tablespoon of this olive oil in it. I'm just eyeballing it. And anytime I use olive oil, I also like to use a little bit of flax oil for the omega-3s. So, oops, I put a little too much. Then a little bit of lemon juice, or maybe 2 tablespoons or so. And this I do measure, 2 teaspoons of namashoyu. Then let's toss it. For new raw fooders, I suggest that you marinate broccoli overnight. What you can do is put a heavy or a couple of heavy plates down on it, weigh it down, and that'll help the marinade to penetrate into the vegetable. But once you've been a raw fooder for a while, just for a few minutes is enough. So now I'm going to set this aside while we make the cheddar sauce. Start off with the bell pepper because it has a lot of liquid in it, and you want to put things in the blender that have more liquid. That helps the other items break down better. And that way you don't have to add any water into the recipe. Just give it a rough chop. Then about the juice of half a lemon. Put a garlic clove in it, and because it's all blended up, I'm not even going to peel it. Just put it in. Then use about 1.5 tablespoons of nutritional yeast. Nutritional yeast is not a raw product, but we use it sometimes in the raw community to give a cheesy flavor to dishes. 2 teaspoons of namashoyu. And then we're going to put some pine nuts in. This is 3/4 of a cup of pine nuts, which I soaked overnight in filtered water, and then I drained the water. And this is a 1/2 cup of sunflower seeds that I soaked, again, overnight and drained the water, or you could use sprouted sunflower seeds instead. Let's just blend it up. Take a little taste. It's good. Always take a little taste because you might need a little more Celtic salt or some other ingredient. So when you taste it, you'll know right away. But this is great just as it is. Okay. Now we bring our broccoli back. Put some of this. You don't have to use the whole thing. Just use maybe half. Just toss it all together. Delicious. So good. Okay, we plate it up. Put a little garnish in the middle. Some people like the broccoli and cheddar with a little extra sauce on it. Lee likes it that way. Also, Lee likes it when I put it in the dehydrator for about an hour. It warms it up a little and melds the flavors a little more. It tastes cheesier to him.